What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Dragon Age the Veilguard and how it seems like the game has officially flopped. EA has talked about their money situation, and I think they're still doing pretty okay, all things considered. But Dragon Age the Veilguard did come drastically under where they thought. So this came from Bloomberg, and they basically say that bookings fell to about $2.22 billion in the third quarter, missing forecasts of 2.4 to 2.55 billion due to the weak performance of two holiday games. Then they talk about basically what those games are. EA pinned most of the blame on its soccer title, EA Sports FC 2025, which was released in September to mixed reviews. The company introduced a refresh this month. The role-playing game Dragon Age the Veilguard, which came out in October, remember Halloween, following a turbulent development cycle, reached 1.5 million players during the quarter, missing the company's expectations by around 50%. So they want to roughly double. 1.5 is not like atrocious, but it is, I would say, pretty bad for a game of Dragon Age's like status. And also you think, he kind of throws it in there, but let me expand upon it. Dragon Age took a long time, right? And this is an issue with the gaming industry just at large. I don't want to take this away from the shortcomings of Dragon Age, because EA needs to learn. BioWare needs to learn. We'll talk about that in a second, but just even like how the industry is set up, 1.5 might not be the worst thing in the world, right? There's a lot of games that sold 1.5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and it would be considered actually pretty good. The issue is budgets are enormous nowadays, and when you take 5, 6, 7 plus years to make Dragon Age, when you go through what they went through and seemingly like messing with the multiplayer side and then kind of pulling back and all that jazz, and some of that, by the way, is not necessarily even BioWare's fault. You don't really know where some of these things come from, and the like initiatives, right, that some of these companies have to do might not even come from them, might actually come from up top, right, at EA. We don't, again, like we don't know for sure, but just to kind of throw that in there, that this game took longer than it was supposed to. This game went through more than it was supposed to, and at the end of the day, I'm not saying like, okay, all of a sudden 1.5 is suddenly going to be good for them, but it might have been better. Might have been better than what it now is. Now, in terms of like Dragon Age itself, right? Again, they've got to learn from this stuff. I know there's a lot of people that, look, this game was in that culture wars type thing, the back and forth. For what it's worth from me, I think this game kind of had issues kind of across the board. I think as a video game, it just wasn't good. And I think I said, this is one of the most like 5 out of 10 average type games I've ever played. And I know people will point to some of the writing, like Tosh, right, the character and all that stuff. And look, I do think there was some stuff in there that was kind of like outrageous. Like, I don't know what some of those writers were intending to do with some of that plot line, and specifically I would say that character. It felt like overreaching. It felt like just injecting whatever they felt was priority of their month to put into the game. So was that a problem? And in this case, would I actually side with the more like, kind of anti-woke side? Yes, but actually, let me again take a few steps back. Let me be that fence sitter that I am, that people will say, no, that is a part of it. Okay, that was absolutely a part, and that just wasn't necessary. However, it's to say that this game failed because of that, I just don't think is true. It was a part of it. I did not like that character. I thought it was wasted potential. It just wasn't fun whatsoever. However, the game itself just wasn't, fun. I wouldn't say whatsoever, because there were elements to it that were okay, but like I said, and that's why I wanted to lead with that, this game just wasn't good to me. I don't rate games, but this game wasn't a good game. And as time goes, and I've talked about this with friends, as time goes, remember when this game came out and journalists were saying like BioWare's back, this is the best BioWare's ever been. I can tell you right now, that's already aged, at least in my opinion, terribly. Anybody that said that needs to really be looked at and say, okay, do we trust what you think about games or think about the gaming industry? Because I don't know anymore, right? That's right now. I think as time goes, the game is actually going to potentially get worse. I think some of those cracks are going to show more to people, and those 10-year, 5-year retrospectives of the game, I don't think they're going to be very kind to the Veilguard. So again, like, there was a lot of stuff going on. Okay, there was culture wars, there was that back and forth, but the game, for what it was, just wasn't good enough. Factually, I just don't think it was. And you could blame whatever you want to blame for less people supporting it. You could say it's been 10 years since Inquisition. I know I saw like Gene Park talk about, well, this is like a game that you somewhat needed like past games. I don't think that honestly has anything to do with it. I just think the game wasn't all that good. And I think people kind of, whether it was the culture war stuff, whether it's because of just what they saw in general. You think about the reveal trailer, and the reveal trailer was terrible, right? Now, the gameplay afterwards was mixed, was definitely mixed, but it was better than that reveal trailer. But that's the first thing people saw. Okay, was that, I think it was at the Xbox event maybe, and that was very bad, right? So you see that, and you potentially check out immediately. Doesn't matter anything else that happens after, you check out immediately. So that wasn't a good start. You see what I mean? I think there was honestly a lot to it, but at the end of the day, the game didn't do what it needed to do. And yeah, while 1.5 isn't atrocious, and to some people that I'm seeing online, some people are actually surprised that it even did that. I'm not. I mean, I thought it would do a couple million, right? But the thing is, this game, I think also especially long term, right? I mean, yeah, they might have been looking at 2.5, 3 million now, but they probably wanted this game to do 5, 6, 7, 8 as the years went. I don't think the game's going to even get close. I think it's going to kind of die out. So I would be shocked if it made it to 2.5 or 3 million. They might have wanted it at the end of the day to hit like 6 to 8. So I think it's honestly going to get worse, and that's just the situation. Now, going on to Mass Effect, you've got to learn from this. Will they learn? I don't know, but I do think like when you miss your sales goal by that much, you really do have to look at the talent. You have to look at the decision makers, and you have to say, okay, what went wrong? And you also have to say, all right, you got Mass Effect coming up next. And at least the creative force of Mass Effect is very different than Dragon Age, and it's composed of a couple veterans of Mass Effect, so maybe it'll fare better, but there's a lot of pressure. There was already a lot of pressure on Dragon Age. I think it crumbled under that pressure, and I would say it failed. But Mass Effect, that's the next thing. Please, I'm a huge Mass Effect guy, okay? And I'm more into Mass Effect than Dragon Age. For the love of God, do not mess that one up, or I'm going to be a lot harder on you, than I was on Dragon Age. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.